Hi, this is Free Thinking Through the Fourth Turning. My name is Sasha Stone. How dare we speak Happy Thanksgiving? Can you give us a break, just for one day? I remember when Generation Woke decided to take Thanksgiving. The narrative fit right into the oppressor mindset. America was a rotten, fetid empire of colonizers who marauded through the pristine countryside and then forced the Native Americans to eat with them for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was now problematic, celebrating it even more so. High-status influencers who made a great living off our capitalist system pronounced their objections to this once great American holiday to take a brave stand against it, because especially in 2020, every white person was expected to atone for their sins of the past and their white privilege now. We're not celebrating Thanksgiving. So went the lengthy, agonizing, virtue-signaling posts on Instagram. Maybe they'd be out feeding the poor, though still technically celebrating Thanksgiving, just not for themselves. Charity could wipe clean the shame. Once Trump was pushed out and Biden put in power, the waters calmed, the screaming stopped, and Thanksgiving was no longer a curse upon us all. Now, here we are, Trump is in power again, and Thanksgiving has now become yet another crisis that must not go to waste. We are to enter the holidays thinking of the president committing illegal acts and whether or not members of the military will take a stand against him and start a hot civil war. Thanksgiving must be a reminder of the Nazi occupation that is starving the poor, especially the black and brown people who are being hunted down and thrown into concentration camps. The order has come down that all must be miserable. 4 long years to make Americans suffer for the crime of the Democrats losing an election to Trump again, says Senator Patty Murray.
It's almost Thanksgiving, and we need to talk about how Trump and Republicans are kicking off millions of kids and families from SNAP. Republicans' big ugly tax bill cut off SNAP funds in order to pay for tax breaks for billionaires. Remember, during the Republican shutdown, the Trump administration stopped SNAP benefits to families, and we had to go to court to get them to put them back in place. Trump and this administration and Republicans are forcing more families to go hungry.
How dare we speak Happy Thanksgiving? How dare we speak Merry Christmas? Says Kamala Harris.
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
With all due respect to those trapped inside the doomsday cult, no. Just no. This is one day you can't take from us. You can't shame us out of it. You can't tell us not to gather with our loved ones around a table and enjoy a meal. Thanksgiving is not yours to take. It never was. You can be miserable if you'd like, but those of us who are grateful just to wake up another day, let alone cook a meal or get invited to a meal, are grateful for the bounty, grateful for life at all, grateful for each other, and for many, grateful to God. Yes, we dare speak Happy Thanksgiving. Fond memories. I always thought Thanksgiving was the great unifier. It wasn't like Christmas where only some people celebrated. It was an everybody thing. That was how we saw it and how we were taught to understand it. Thanksgiving for most of my life was held at my grandmother's house in the San Fernando Valley, with her tattered framed letter from Bill Clinton hanging on the wall, her ceramic Siamese cats frozen in place on her glass coffee table, the plastic lining that covered her good sofa, the piano in the corner nobody played, her gold-plated flatware, the good dishes, and the nice tablecloth, freshly laundered and ironed. Her Thanksgiving was one of my fondest memories. She spent all day cooking the turkey, and when it was finally done, it would be presented as the greatest thing any of us had ever seen. And so it was. I'm not saying it was straight out of Norman Rockwell or anything. It was pure chaos most of the time, and often a powder keg. But somehow on that day, we all knew how to behave. My grandma's turkey was one thing. Her pies were legendary. She would put too much cinnamon in the pumpkin pie, but that's what made it good. It was the warm house on a cold winter day, even in California, that I remember most, and the way we could smell the food cooking even outdoors. We did not eat all day, preparing to fill our bellies until we could not breathe. We were poor in the early days and on welfare, so Thanksgiving at my grandma's house was one way we felt normal, doing what other families did. Even those at rock bottom need a day to say thank you and give grace, no matter their circumstances in life. That's what it's for. It elevates us out of our misery, or at least it can. We didn't say thanks or grace back then because in my family that could spell trouble. It was all about the meal, about my grandma's infamous cooking, and all of us seated together in a cramped suburban home, talking to each other, spending time together, time we'd never get back. Over the years, Thanksgiving moved from house to house. When my grandmother was too old to host, she'd offer to bring up the turkey to my brother's house in Ojai, California. And once we waited 3 hours for her to arrive with the turkey, now cold, sitting in her trunk. And once she accidentally used salt instead of sugar baking her apple pie. And before long, she couldn't make the drive, and Thanksgiving for her was over. I still can't think of it without thinking of her. I think of her every time I roll out homemade pie crust, using the glass of ice water she taught me to use, or the way she taught me to cut the green apples, throwing away the peels and dropping the flesh into a bowl of lemon water to keep it from browning. I think of her whenever I see a turkey coming out of the oven, and I remember how she liked her stuffing inside the bird rather than the modern way of cooking it separately in a casserole. I think of how much she loved America and its traditions, and how faithful she was to all of them. My grandmother taught us what it meant to be grateful for all we had, even if it wasn't much. Thanksgiving isn't about the cost. It can be celebrated on a paper plate in a food kitchen or in the park, just as easily as it can be in my grandmother's dining room or at a restaurant. It's the idea of it. One of the few rituals we have left that we can share, at least among those of us still holding on to the fragile idea of an America at all. On their live version of America This Week, Walter Kern and Matt Taibbi reported on how so many high-minded outlets see it as their duty to treat Thanksgiving like a funeral for America. But here is what Thanksgiving is really about.
What is it about a certain kind of person in America that can't stand Thanksgiving? And why do they feel every year that rather than letting people feel grateful, they should feel terrible? In fact, they should feel guilty. In fact, they should feel angry and hate, self-hatred, really. I mean, why is that? What is that up about? What is the appetite? I'll tell you why. They don't want us. They don't like peace. They don't like people sitting down together. Thanksgiving is the most humane of our holidays. It probably is the best of our holidays when well celebrated. You know, I in my little town, people go from their own Thanksgiving to a big civic center where they feed everybody who wants for free. And churches do that.
Hell, even the drug dealers give turkeys away.
People who find a tourist or somebody drifting through town who doesn't have friends say, come on over to my house. Thanksgiving represents hospitality, peace, transcending materialism, sharing, understanding, family, friendship, community. It's the very best of our it's not a gorging, materialistic, present and gift-based holiday. It's not a patriotic, let's shoot off fireworks that look like bombs and celebrate victory in war holiday. It's not a holiday that celebrates a personage, a famous personage, a powerful president, or something like that. It's not
even supernatural and religious.
It's not even supernatural and religious, unless you want to make it that way. I've spent Thanksgiving at people's houses of every description. I've been the loner guy who was from out of town in Chicago teaching at a university and didn't know anybody, who gets taken in for a Thanksgiving. I've been taken in by families of all kinds on Thanksgiving in my travels. It is unity, peace, love, friendship, and simplicity. And the reason that we have this meal that we've kind of standardized is because it's the one day where we all kind of do the same thing.
Right.
The rich man eats a turkey and the poor man eats a turkey. And if you buy enough like stamps and free stamps at my grocery store back in Montana, you get a free turkey. But in 1970s Minnesota, let me tell you a fairy story from the American past. We didn't think of Thanksgiving, strangely, as a historically accurate representation of the Pilgrims. We thought of it as an aspirational holiday in which we were a little better than we were the rest of the year, and a little more grateful, because most Americans aren't very. Though I shouldn't even say that. We want to be especially grateful. For many, it was the only time they said grace all year and actually thanked the creator, whoever it is, for the food they eat. The rest of the time, they just pile it down.
I'm at a loss as to what this approach to covering the holiday is about. Are we supposed to start? I mean, are we really starting to think towards in this sort of year zero direction of just, postmodern? Yes. Let's wipe out everything and start over with some other better idea. That's where we're at, I guess.
What is the holiday that NPR approves of? Halloween?
Kwanzaa.
Is that the only one? Any of them?
Of the old ones?
Well, yes, of the ones that we had, until 2010, say.
Mardi Gras, maybe. I don't know.
Mardi Gras. No, all I'm saying is, this is a kind of mythocide. It's different than genocide. It's taking every myth, every ritual, I don't want to be like Bill O'Reilly talking about the war on Christmas or something, but, hey, spare it for the kids. Shut up. Let the 7-year-olds have their divorced parents meet. Let the uncle come over. Let Bobby fall asleep on the couch in front of the Detroit Lions, snoring with his drink. Let the cousins run into the basement and play. And dance around. Leave us alone. You're ruining everything in the name of a world that I can't even envision. Because if we clear away Thanksgiving and we get rid of Christmas and we stop the 4th of July and we have no President's Day or Columbus Day or anything else, what will we replace them with? NPR Day?
Well, right. I guess the implication is that we're going to remake things.
Into what god-awful, monstrous hybrid of feeling bad. This is the socialist holiday, socialists.
I guess that's why I drive 6 days across the country every year to see my daughter on Thanksgiving. It turns out that it means a lot to me, too, and I always want to make sure I don't miss even one. I have cooked more than my share of Thanksgiving dinners, and I hope I've created memories for my daughter. And maybe someday I'll be the grandmother to her children, and the ritual will begin anew. It isn't just a day to cook or eat, but a day to say thank you for the blessings in my life, for the luck I've had, for the love I've experienced, for the beauty I can still see in this country and its people, from state to state. If we can do this on this one day, maybe we will be okay. And that is why I'd like to thank all of you. It's been a hell of a ride these past 5 years. And thank you for the warmth and the kindness you've given me. The support, the praise, the criticism, the subscriptions, the donations, and the encouragement. I don't know where I'd be without you. I hope you have a happy, yes, happy Thanksgiving, and all the best to you. Thank you for listening to my podcast, sashastone.com. I hope you will have a wonderful holiday with your friends or your family, or if you're not doing anything, I'll raise a glass to you and hope you're doing okay. If you like my work, you can always leave a tip or become a paid subscriber or leave a review. And remember, to thine own self be true.
I got 2 old busted folding chairs my neighbor threw away. A 1970s card table we only use today. Got an old cooler long enough for 3 kids, maybe 4. Couple of chairs in the lawn out there, we're gonna drag them indoors. Bedroom sheets for the tablecloth, plastic forks and spoons. Dinner doesn't start till 4 p.m., but come on over at noon. We'll have a good time, we got good wine, saved it for today. But we drink it out of a plastic cup on my favorite holiday. Thanksgiving, you're an old familiar face. All my favorite people right here in one place. Holding hands for a little too long when Grandpa's saying grace. One of my friends brought both their parents. Everybody make just a little more space. The turkey got overcooked, we'll drown it with gravy. Cranberry sauce straight out the can and a tub of macaroni. And it's okay to put whipped cream right on your broccoli. Thanksgiving's far from perfect, but it's perfect for me. Yeah, it's perfect for me. Well, how many of y'all had ridiculous hats? Oh my gosh, so many ridiculous hats. How many of y'all ate off of your lap? How many of y'all took a quick little nap? Eating off a pool table, that's okay. Dog in a high chair, that's okay. Eating at the garage, yes you may.